When you ask God for a miracle year, be prepared for where He will whisk you. We're going to get into it. Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Happy New Year. I am recording this in the final hours of 2025, and you will be listening to this at the top of 2026. As I spent time with God this morning, as I was journaling my gratitude, the words that spilled out before me looked a lot different from what they looked like before. They looked like a love letter to God for the miracle year 2025 has been. I started out the year January 1st, 2025 on bended knee. I was in a broken state. I was in the deepest uncertainty of my life. I entered 2025 with a broken heart. The relationship that I thought would end in marriage ended abruptly. All the work that God had placed on my heart to do, which was the ultimate love letter, which was finally off the ground and finally running, was now being threatened. I was in debt, and I was earning part-time. So when I came to God that humbly first day of the year, entering it with a 6-day fast, entering it completely broken, but also in complete faith, because I had heard God tell me what I needed to release, and I was following that voice. And although it was extremely uncomfortable, extremely confusing, I knew that if God was guiding me there, then He would sustain me there. I began the year with a 6-day fast because I needed some clarity. And I remember asking God, I need a miracle year. Even though I was brokenhearted, even though I was in debt, even though I was earning minimally, my biggest concern was the ultimate love letter. I had finally gotten her off the ground. She was finally moving some things around. And even though I was doing my part on the ultimate love letter, which is speaking God's truth, which is editing our episodes, there's another behind the scene part that I didn't know anything about, which was marketing, which was promotion. And that part of the ultimate love letter was reserved and was handled by the relationship that ended. So as God was telling me, prepare yourself, you're going to leave this relationship, the first thing I said is, God, well, I need you to handle that other part of the business, the part that I know nothing about. And God, in so many words, told me light work, right? Like God was saying, you go and do the thing I say to do. You go where I say go. You let go where I say let go, and I will take care of the rest. Yes, there was a lot of unknown, but I remain obedient. So as I enter 2025, yeah, I was in a broken state, a deeply unknown state, but also in the deepest faith walk of my life. When I asked God for a miracle year, I was really thinking about the ultimate love letter. I was thinking, because if I do the math, right, I need to earn more than part time. So does this mean, God, that I need to go back full time to the career that I know, which is like hotel management? Do I need to amp the business that I created, which was temporary staffing? The two things that I do not love to do, but simply to earn. And then the bigger question came is, and how is that going to pull me away from everything we're building on the ultimate love letter? Yeah, Tull was my biggest priority. The gift that God has given me. And in the moment of uncertainty, all I wanted to do was protect that gift. And look at God. I didn't know what it would look like when I prayed for a miracle year. I thought I thought I know what I thought in my head it would look like. It would look like a huge windfall of money and just solve all my problems. I can still just lollygag and preach on the ultimate love letter and blog about it and post about it and hire all this team and life is great. That's what that in my teeny tiny little mind, that's what I thought would immediately solve it. God is far more greater and far more creative than that. God made it a way within 60 days of that prayer. God began to infuse deep healing in me. God did so by the way of laughter. He surrounded me with friends that were comedians, new friends that were comedians, where I just spent the whole year really laughing. God had people reach me, resources, people I've never even met, offering to do our merchandise for the ultimate love letter. What? That's been a dream, but that wasn't even on my radar. But we're talking about a miracle year. Yeah, it probably wasn't my priority, but God was like, oh no, this is what happens in these miracle years. People came out of the word work and essentially did our merchandise for essentially nothing. Right? All I needed to do was provide the logo and help with the design. They gave me a website and it was all done so effortlessly. And that was like Q1 of the year. Now I have my merchandise. Wow, okay. That came fast and effortless. Then came in the book, a book that has been on my heart for the last 4 years to write, Fake as Vegan. And all of a sudden, God just came down and infused me to wrap up the writings. He brought in editors that were the most brilliant creators, book book designers. And before I knew it, with ease, I had our book published on Amazon. How did this I don't even know how all this happened. God brought the effortless resources. People that would edit the book for a fraction of what I thought it would take to edit a book. Someone who did the book cover better than what I held in my mind. I sketched out a book cover, right? I'm not an artist. I don't really draw, but I sketched to the best of my ability what I had in my mind, gave the idea to an artist, and he went beyond what was in my mind. Then I took to Amazon, and how that couldn't have been any easier. Now all of a sudden royalties are coming in from this book where I was just pouring out my soul about my travel, about God, about living in harmony, about living in balance. And then there was the area of the debt. God brought in money in miraculous ways. It just seemed like this is so miraculous. Those who never experience this will never experience it. You just gotta join this magic show, which is called Living in Alignment with God. But the money that I earned working with my clients part-time seemed to cover everything. I don't even know how that happened. Also, yes, I have a savings, a retirement fund, if you will. And so, yes, I did, because God said, don't forget, you got savings there and there. Yes. So I pulled from there, but I didn't drain it. I still have it. But God didn't call for me to go back to the grind of the 9 to 5. He opened up funnels, other funnels by way that money could flow. The book, the merchandise. People would just send me, oh my God, people would just call me and say, hey, can you get on a call? Like I'm dealing with this life problem. Where can I Venmo you? Can I Zelle you? People were essentially, yes, bringing me the rewards that God said were already available for me. Some people, I'm not even kidding when I say this, some people will just say, hey, I like what you're doing. I see that you like this. I sent you an Apple Pay. What? I don't even use Apple Pay. And all of a sudden there's money for me on Apple Pay. But that is the magic show that God performs for you when you're living in alignment. The healing of my heart, before I knew it, just putting my head down, just working on my purpose and everything that God has for us, just protecting the ultimate love letter, this sacred, beautiful thing that we're giving to the world, that God has asked us to give to the world, asked me to give to the world. As I'm just focused there, I look up and I'm like, oh wait, my heart is no longer hurting. Look at God. Like, not only is not hurting, I am the happiest and the healthiest I have ever been. Look at God. Look at God. The travel. Secondly, I was thinking, God, will I be able to travel this year in 2025? God answered that. Yeah, you will. And it will be the biggest travel of your life. God sent us, as you know, if you've been following, through Japan, and Italy this year. And I went so many places in Japan that I didn't even have the capacity to dream yet. Like Tokyo, Zama, Hiroshima, Osaka, Kyoto, YM, Yokohama. Like the list was endless. I went all over Japan like a kid in a candy store. And if you're following along, you remember on that trip in Asia, I was the provision for my family in Asia. How is that possible? on a little old part-time, life coaching job. How is that possible? It's possible because of God. It's because of God. And the travel didn't stop there. It went on to Italy, the most incredible parts of Italy. My gosh, Firenze, that I am going back. Oh, in just a few months, right? In like 4 or 5 months. Like, it never stopped. But these are the promises of God. God says that when you are going and doing the things that I ask you to do, when you let go, where I say let go, that's where your life explodes. And here's the thing. 2025 opened up with heartache, opened up with brokenness, started off with pain, but it ended up being the greatest year yet. There is no coincidences, because in the places where I was hurting, God was infusing healing. In the places where there was pain, God was replacing it with bliss. In the places where there was debt, God was replacing it with miracle money. All because I remained in alignment with Him. All because I kept my eyes fixated on Him. All because I kept my trust in Him. All because my biggest concern was protecting the most sacred thing of all, which was the ultimate love letter. The very gift that God has given me to give to the world. Look at God. When I think back to what a miracle year would look like, right? Just a windfall of money. Now I think that is garbage. Yeah, it would have been great to get a windfall of money. But God was like, let me give you that. That's already here, but let me do it in a creative way where you can see it's like magic, where you will know the money never ends unless you think it does. Like, I didn't hoard anything this year. I am just by nature, I am generous. I was, even as a kid, like always loved giving more than receiving. Like, I just love to give. I love the way people light up when you give. And as I just continued to give throughout 2025, right? I didn't let the fear of, oh my gosh, this might run out. Or, oh my gosh, you're only earning part-time and you have, credit cards that need to be paid off. I just knew, no. God has a plan, right? I've always gone and done the things that God has asked me to. And even though, the credit card looks like it's, through the roof, God has a plan. And did He not? Did He not? But that's because of the deep belief, that deep knowing that God is always providing, that God is my source. Whatever it says, all the math that it says on paper means nothing for my miracle maker, my God, your God. So now, thinking back to 2025, I'm glad God showed me the miracle year He did. Actually, that was a miracle year. The way He did it was a miraculous year. It was like living in pure magic all of 2025. I couldn't have written it any different. He showed me that He would be the provision forever. Not my clients, not the business, not the 9 to 5, but Him. He also showed me that the resources never end. He's always sending the right people to serve at the right time. And that team that I had entered thinking, God, send me a windfall of money so I can have a team. guess what? God sent the team, and he sent the resources for the team. And it didn't look like a windfall of money, although that is exactly what happened because the team was paid. The team is still being paid. I can say now, yes, I have one teammate who works for the Ultimate Love Letter, and we pay him monthly. And he's been with us for about 4 months. How? I would have never thought. I was thinking when I entered 2025, I need to keep myself employed. I would have never imagined that I'd be able to employ somebody else. That is gnarly. Talk about a miracle year. The team that we worked with on the merchandise, the team that we worked with on the book. When I look up, I'm like, how did you do it all in 2025? How did you get your own merchandise? You're an author now. You're giving to a nonprofit. The proceeds of our Fake As Vegan merchandise, if you haven't checked it out, there's a collection rather, Fake As Vegan. And all of the proceeds from Fake As Vegan go to the Carbon Underground, this amazing nonprofit that I absolutely love, where what they do is talk about regenerative soil. I met them during 2020. They talk about climate change, but beyond. They talk about in the soil, preserving the soil. And the part of our proceeds from our fave merch goes to them. Who would have thought all of that could be given in a single calendar year where I started it off broken in so many ways. Heartbroken, broken in my finances on paper, because I'm never broken in my finances. Even saying that is like, misalignment. Broken in not knowing where I'm going. Broken in uncertainty. It was a mysterious year, which turned out to be a miraculous one. I don't know how you started your year, friend, but I want to encourage you. Have the bravery to release the things that God is asking you to release, because when he asks you to release them, in that moment of discomfort, God will begin to pump in healing. God will begin to pump in mending. In that uncertainty, God really just wants to show you how you can rely on him. It's a magic trick. You're floating on a magic carpet. I felt like I was floating on a magic carpet all the year. It felt like my feet were not on the ground. And I was just like, God, I just want a place to plant my feet. Like, I just want something firm. But God was saying, oh, no, no, no. You're ascending. And your comfort should be deeply in the unknown. And that's what God did. I am, because of the year I have just had in 2025, I am now deeply comfortable with uncertainty. How is that for a miracle year? I could have only seen it. I could have only grown into it. I could have only achieved it by having the year that I did. Know that if you are asking for a miracle year, put on your seatbelt, because God is about to whisk you on the ride of your life. I am intending for you a very prosperous, healing, beautiful new year. I am intending that you draw closer to God. And as you draw closer to God, those years get bigger and bigger. Go be great. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again real soon. Happy New Year.